Yes, sir, Ski. What we doing? How we doing, people? Hanging in there. I hope you are, cause I am. It's these diamond hands, right? It's not gonna be easy, but this is what it takes in order to get to the squeeze, right? For AMC, for GameStop, for all these highly shorted stocks, BBIG, right? So I hope you're not watching the charts right now, right? Because there's not much going on there, in my opinion, guys. Again, let me start off by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Take it for entertainment and education purposes, right? But trying to bring you the most current info, because when you learn, you earn, right? And when you have patience, patience pays in the market, okay? That's what I've learned in my experience, right? So right now, like I said, we're gonna touch on the chart and all that, but I have a piece of DD that I want to share with you guys that I broke down over the weekend, right? So I'm gonna do my best to break it down for you and tell you my perspective on what I see going on in the background, okay? Because I think that's what's more important right now than what's left of these manipulated charts here, right, per se. Again, just all this stuff is my opinion, guys, so keep that in mind. Shout out to the 172 subscribers, guys. You know, I appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, for hanging in there and supporting me, and like for being one of the members of the family, all right? Because we keep a tight family around here, all right? And I'm starting to see more interaction and comments, and again, the more the better, right? I would love to have a conversation with anybody who wants to talk and wants to share their opinion as well, okay? So let's not spend too much time here on the intro. Let's move over, because it is a big file, all right, the one I'm gonna break down. But I just highlighted again the summary. I just got the important pieces that I think that we should know, all right? Real quick, Bitcoin's on the run, right? This is what's pushing the crypto market too. It's landed on there. But look, guys, this is what I want to start off with, right? This is the DD over here. So this is the Federal Register, and the rules keep hitting, right? There was one right here that's talking about how they're marking the retail orders, right? So that's just something that they're amending right here. But the one I want to go over is going to be this one that's talking about prohibition against fraud, manipulation, or deception in connection with security-based swaps. So it's the lending program, right? Because I've noticed that like recently with AMC, like they had like 7 million shares, 5 million shares, right? They keep borrowing more and shorting more, and the fee goes lower. How is that they're borrowing more shares, but the fee is going lower? That doesn't make sense, right? All right, guys. So let's jump into this this right here. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit more so y'all can see, right? Cool. So check this out. The SEC is reproposing a common rule under the Securities Act of 1934, which would be a new rule designed to prevent fraud, manipulation, and deception in connection with effecting transactions or inducing or attempting to induce the purchase of a sale or any security-based swap. The rule is designed specifically to take into account the unique features of the security-based swap and would explicitly reach misconduct in connection with the ongoing payments and deliveries that typically occur throughout the life of a security-based swap, right? When they're borrowing shares and lending shares out, right? They're changing the whole system on that, guys. The commission is also proposing a rule which would make it unlawful for any officer, director, or supervised person or employee of a security-based swap dealer, major security-based swap participant, or any person acting under such person's direction to directly or indirectly take any action to coerce, manipulate, mislead, or fraudulently influence the security-based swap dealers or major security-based swap participants' chief compliance officer in the performance of their duties under the federal securities laws and the rules and regulations thereunder. Finally, the commission is using its authority under this act, right, for a comment new rule which would require any person with a security-based swap position that exceeds a certain threshold. So they're also adding in a threshold, right, to promptly file with the commission a schedule disclosing certain information related to security-based swap positions. Right? Let's go on. Under this act, right, the Dodd-Frank Act, which was established a regulatory framework for the over-the-counter derivatives markets. Okay. Finally, the Dodd-Frank Act also amended the Exchange Act to explicitly authorize the commission to require reporting of large security-based swap positions. We have discussed manufactured credit events or other opportunistic strategies in the credit default swap market. Manufactured or other opportunistic CDS strategies can take a number of different forms, but generally involve CDS buyers or sellers taking steps with or without the participation of a company whose securities underlie a reference by a CDS, a reference entity, to avoid, trigger, delay, accelerate, decrease, and or increase payouts on CDS. Some examples reported by academics and the press include a CDS buyer working with a reference entity to create an artificial, technical, or temporary failure to pay credit event in order to trigger a payment on a CDS to the buyer and the determinant of the CDS seller. The strategy above, as well as other strategies, can be combined with causing the reference entity to issue a below market debt instrument in order to artificially increase the auction settlement for the CDS by creating a new cheapest to deliver obligation, right? All right, so this is in my opinion, guys, this is just the government exposing all the tricks, right, that they have been using against us, right? I think they found, I mean, not all of them probably, but a good chunk of them, and they realized like how they're using this stuff to manipulate the prices, right? Like the government themselves. CDS sellers offering financial to restructure a reference entity in such a way that orphans the CDS, eliminating, reducing the likelihood of a credit event by moving the debts off the balance sheets of the reference entity and onto the balance sheets of a subsidiary or affiliate that is not referenced by the CDC. Taking actions including a larger restructuring to increase or decrease the supply, deliverable obligations, for example, adding or removing a co-borrower existing debt of a reference entity, thereby increasing or decreasing the likelihood of a credit event and the cost of CDS. All right, let's go down here. Finally, the commission also recognizes that transparency can be beneficial to market participants so that they can act on an informed manner to protect their own interests. All right, so that's why they're making them report daily now under this rule, right? 10B-1. The Commission believes that the additional transparency in the CDS market can help to ensure that it remains fair, orderly, and efficient for similar reasons such as transparency. Also should benefit the market for other types of security-based swaps. This rule will require public reporting, among other things, certain large positions in security-based swaps, positions in any security and loan underlying the security-based position, and positions in any other instrument relating to the underlying security or loan group and index of securities or loans, okay? They want the full picture, guys. The government is changing the rules so they can see the full picture of what's going on with the shares and the lending, right, and the costs of it and things like that. Okay, this rule would apply when there is evidence of scientific egg when a party to a security-based swap knowingly or recklessly makes a false statement, even though the party may not receive money or property as a result, right? So it's very detailed, guys, right? And this is what I'm saying, like, look at the terminology that's being used here, right? Like, forget the price. I mean, people are all over Twitter doing DD and stuff, so that's how I know that this is not over and people are not selling, right? The apes are still holding. The commission has carefully considered these comments but disagrees with the narrow interception of the terms purchase and sale when used in the context of security-based swaps, exposed by commenters, right? For example, reducing the number of outstanding contracts provides important operational benefits and efficiencies for market participants in that there are fewer open contracts to manage, maintain, and settle, resulting in fewer opportunities for processing errors, failures, and other problems that could develop through the life cycle of a transaction. All right, so guys, it's laid out right here, right? I keep telling you guys, like, listen. Given these important benefits, as well as the largely administrative nature of the portfolio compression process, the Commission believes it would be appropriate to provide a safe harbor for this activity in circumstances where security-based swap counterparty is in possession of the material non-public information with respect to a reference entity underlying an applicable security-based swap. And a lot of the stuff's just detail, right? It's just repeated, like referencing to why they're doing this and things like that, or what gives them the authority, right? So to be clear, this rule is not intended to create separate category for prohibited activity. Rather than provision is designed to specify that many of the activities that would be considered fraud, manipulation, or dissent with respect to a security-based swap, respect to security-based swap are typically effected through transactions in the underlying reference entity, security loan, or group of index of security loans. Security-based swaps by their nature are tied intrinsically to activity in other securities markets. All right, so it is saying that it's very complicated, right? There's a lot to it. That's why it's not like just simply like, oh, they can find a naked short right away, right? Because I think there's a couple ways they can create a naked short. Accordingly, we are not proposing to require reporting persons to publicly disclose any information about their counterparties, including their identities, rather than under the proposed rules subject to the reporting requirement would only need to report the amount that their aggregated positions in security-based swap on a single reference underlier, as well as any underlying or related positions. Okay. The 10B right here, as previously noted, Section B of the Exchange Act, which provides the commission with authority to establish position limits for security-based swaps, right? So now they're actually putting a threshold of how much can be shorted, from what I'm reading, right? Here we go. In the security-based swaps, also provides the commission with rulemaking authority to require reporting of large security-based swap positions, right? This is the rule again, just going more into detail, but both sides of the transaction should then have the information about the size of the transaction so that each can determine whether any applicable security-based swap position has the exceeded reporting threshold amount, right? So they'll be able to see if anybody is over leveraged to the gills, how they've been able to do right recently with all these shorted stocks. The commission is also proposing that to use 150 million national threshold for short CDS positions. So 150 million, right, is going to be anything over that gives them the flag, the red flag, right, to start like, wait, what's going on here? As far as like the people that are overseeing this stuff. We believe that this threshold should capture situations where a CDS seller has a large enough position to potentially utilize an opportunistic strategy to avoid or delay a credit event, guys. The loopholes, right? They're trying to get rid of the loopholes, guys. That's all it is, right? So this would require a person who has previously filed a Schedule 10B with the Commission to file an amendment of any fourth in a previously filed Schedule 10B, including, but is not limited to, any material increase in the security-based swap position, or if security-based swap position falls back below the applicable reporting threshold amount. This, I think, is talking about how there's, with the old positions, like the open positions right now, I don't know if they're going to have to report those, but guys, that's why like buy and hold is the way, right? Because if retail keeps buying and buying, like as soon as these start getting, they're already hitting the Federal Register, so as soon as they start using them, the government, right? Like if we buy and hold, they won't be able to do their tricks, right? That they have been doing the same way, right? And the manipulation and all that. For purpose of the proposal, an acquisition or disruption in any amount equal to 10% or more of the position previously disclosed in the Schedule 10B would be deemed material for purposes of that requirement. See, the Commission believes that this requirement will help ensure that regulators and market participants continue to have updated information about reportable security-based swap positions, but only as far as the updated information is material. Accordingly to this rule, would require a person who has previously filed a 10B to file an amendment if the amount of security-based swap position that was previously reported increased or decreased by 10% or more. Okay, so that's what I mean. Like if there's a change of 10% or more, they're going to have to re-report that, right? Their positions that they're in, the shorts that are open. Pursuant to proposed Schedule 10B, persons subject to proposed rule would require to report the following information. And again, that's talking about like who took the loan, where, how much money, if it's only lent once, right? That's the details in here if you want to go into that. We've already touched on it before, so I think, let's see, what do we got here? What is this about? Okay. The use of this information believes that the information required to the disclosure on the 10B will be used as follows: to provide market participants, including counterparties, issuers, and their stakeholders with regulators with access to information that may indicate that a person or a group of persons is building a large security-based swap position, a large short position, right? Which in some cases could be indicative of potentially fraudulent or manipulative purposes, to alert market participants and regulators to the existence of the concentrated exposures to a limited number of counterparties and regulators of the attendant risks, allow counterparties to risk manage and lead to better pricing of the security-based swap as a result, to all market participants having access to the information and the positions. In the case of manufactured or other opportunistic strategies in the CDS market, to provide market participation and regulators with advance notice that a person is building a large position with incentive to vote against their interests in a large CDS position with an incentive to vote against their interests as a debt holder, possibly with an intent to harm the company, even if such conduct is not inherently fraudulent. That's talking about shorting a company to get it to go bankrupt, right? in my opinion, guys, remember, will be close enough to the threshold to warrant active monitoring of those positions, right? So that's why they're putting a threshold. And then right here, and it is saying that, you know, because of these 850 responses, they might find a way to find another loophole. If possible, such persons may be able to leverage some of the technology used in connection with the transaction reporting system to build a system. Nevertheless, the commission believes it is appropriate to use the more conservative estimate of proposing release given in the commission that not previously proposed or adopted position reporting requirements with respect to security-based swaps. One example of material information that could lead to such asymmetry is the trading characteristics of the issues related instruments, including the number of contracts that a market participant holds on a specific bond issue. The data is important because some market participants in the past have engaged in tactics of academics and media have described as opportunistic strategies, right? And in other words, guys, that they're taking advantage of retail and taking advantage of certain rules and things like that. The commission has now finalized a majority of its title rules related to SPS entities, including rules that allow such persons to manage the market, counterparty, operational, legal risks associated with security-based positions, swap business. These include the risk mitigation rules relating to capital, margin, and segregation requirements of this, right? The broker-dealers, capital margin, and rules to record keeping and reporting. Yeah, right. So as soon as they announce the record, like they're digging into their records, that building is a total loss, like they said. Sheesh, man. That's just mind blowing to me. All right, it's just a little more breakdown. I don't really think there's anything left here. Let's see. In addition, the commission expects the price efficiency of the underlying securities markets to have a positive impact on capital formation and the cost of capital for the underlying entities, right? So it's talking also about like that it's probably going to raise a lot of share prices, right? Because it's not really the real price, right? Like they've said in the past too. Proposed Rule 10B could increase market integrity and increase liquidity. What have we been talking about this whole year, apes, guys? Like you guys should be hyped right now. There's no reason to be scared now, right? Like literally, I bought more Lucid shares and I bought a few more AMC shares. Like when I can, right? I see a good price, guys. I'm gonna add because I believe in this. I believe the squeeze is real, guys. All right. I am an ape and I am an investor as well. Okay. And yeah, like I said, crypto's doing well. I believe that's it on that. Crypto's been doing well, guys. Right. So we got to keep an eye on that. And what's important to me is all this, you know, that's the real DD. We'll check out some stuff on the charts here. Some things I want to point out. We broke down, guys. Right. But found support again at this level. So right now it's bouncing off of that. Right. But what's important to me on this chart right now is that we're still on top of this downward trend line, right? It's bouncing again off of that. It went under doji. I was hoping we would see another green candle, but maybe tomorrow, right? If it starts to move up, okay. But it does look to me like it touched again there, and that's gonna make its way back up. Now this is the daily chart, right? Volume is super low, so in my opinion, they can manipulate. And the price just closed at 14.91, right? Market just closed. They can manipulate the price when there's very low volume, right? I think. And this is what I want to point out, okay? This chart, right? Before this run up here, you see the same thing where it's just down, 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 right? It gets super low. Same thing that it's happening right now, very similar, right? Down, 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 gets super low. But then if you look at the RSI, look at this little movement. It went up, and then right before that rip, it had this little curl. Look at where this is at. Got the dip, and then there's the same little just pattern here that you see right here, right? The line's the same. So what if nothing's guaranteed? I don't know when it's going to squeeze, but if it starts squeezing, yeah, that's what you see, big movement, right? On the RSI, it's going to follow the same pattern here. Rip. Okay. So I just want to point that out on AMC. Let's see. Let's take a look at the SPY. It's just kind of traded sideways today, right? It's a 2-minute chart. We're pretty zoomed in. Just in the same channel that it's been in right now, right? Just because of all the uncertainty and there's nothing that's confirmed, right? All right, guys. So real quick, let's see. Let's look at the options chain. Of course, they're trying to get it under 15. That's why we had a little run in the morning and then came all the way back down, right? So they're still shorting, guys, okay? But their goal is to keep it under 15 by Friday based on this, because the higher we go, obviously, the more volume, the more open contracts. At 20, there's 14,000, all right? So as far as the puts, They're trying to get it as low as, let's see, where's the most volume? Maybe right here, 3,000. They're gonna try to get it to 1350 or 13, right? But they're still they're playing with fire, guys. I mean, there's all these eyes on them, right? All these entities that's just like, man, they're crazy. Max pain is 18. All right, cool. So let's just take a look at the Ford. Nothing really crazy. I know that BBIG is still kind of trading sideways too. Just holding that same range, right? So it's at what, 304 right now. We looked at the SPY, and Bitfarm's actually, of course, following Bitcoin. It always does. So it did have a nasty rip today. It was up at one point at 15%. It's at $4.15. 17 million in volume, guys. So you see that a lot of volume came in, right? And that's also because of Bitcoin. All right, this is the current AMC information. The utilization is at 81. The shares on loan has gone up, guys. So it was 111. Now they owe 120 million currently, right? So at one point they will have to cover those, all right? And this is what this guy wants to see. Utilization keep creeping up. Naked shorting, they're still over 60%, guys. They're just attacking the stock every day, right? We already know that. And then just real quick, not a lot of options in the money right now, but it is only Monday, and you never know what can happen by Friday, all right? Let's go over the Lucid chart. Oh, this is the BBIG chart, like I said, just trading sideways. And what I want to point out on Lucid here is just there's a lot of bullish sentiment because you see high volume at these, higher price points. So right now it closed at 26.97, negative 2% for the day. And this is for the expiration of this week, right? So you see the heavier volumes right here at the $30 mark. And then it goes all the way to, let's see, 55, right, on the call side. And then we go down to the puts, and there is heavier volume at 24, right? So there's some people betting that it's going to go down to 24. So we'll have to see how that goes, right? There was this awesome article that came out on Lucid today, guys. I really liked it. It's talking about how, even after they drove it for a while, like it doesn't like lose horsepower as the battery goes down, right? Even though the battery's going down, they can still gun it, if they want to. So they're just talking about, they've compared it with the Mercedes, right? They've compared it with other brands and whatever, but this has coaxed out the record smashing 520-mile range is only exhibit A for this company's superior in-house tech and all-electric approach. Mercedes, which intends to sell a lineup of EQ badge models alongside similarly styled gasoline versions, must serve two sets of customers, right? So keep that in mind. While keeping regulations at bay, it must develop a new car business meant to put its old one out of business. They're competing against each other right there, Mercedes, basically. That's a tough nut to loosen for the strategist legacy makers, smartest legacy makers. But Lucid, they're just focused on one group, right? Like their cars are expensive, but it's new technology. They're just doing EVs right now. And I'm pretty sure, like I read, they're going to release a truck and an SUV later on. So the CEO, he's very confident in what he's doing, right? And I like that. And I think he's making the right moves. It's just a baby company. But they have a lot of potential, guys. And the difference to me, like what I think about also, yeah, maybe they don't have a bunch of production right now, right? But like I said, they're opening up their locations, and they're kind of small, so people have to go there to order it and build their car, right? But they're not like a traditional car dealership that they have a massive, freaking lot and they just have all these cars like that. Like, no, like the people that are going there, they're guaranteed, once they order it, right? Like they're more like guaranteed buyers, in my opinion, right? Because they know that they're expensive and they're not just going there just to waste their time, I don't think, right? So yeah, I'll put this down in the link below. It is just comparing it, but we just got 500 miles at range of 70 miles per hour. How did we do that? He said, referring to the real world highway speed range test by, conducted by Inside EVs, we did it by taking a ground up review on what's possible from an EV. Okay, so they are now proving, right, everything that they have done in the past. So just some pictures here talking about the range and so on. All right, guys, their plans, right? So Lucid is also primed to sell many more Airs in America this year, as many as 20,000 from a new Arizona factory. Okay, so yeah, guys, just I'm scooping up Lucid every time I can, that's for sure. And even it's a pretty long one, okay guys, just so you know. So I'm not gonna spend all this time on it, right? But I will put the link down below if you want to read on it. So yeah, just to wrap things up, guys, I think this is the important information we got to keep an eye on. And you know, because there's always more buy orders on AMC, right? 3,000, but the price goes down somehow. So yeah, you do the math. And just what's crazy about Bitcoin, guys, $24 billion in volume, right, in the past 24 hours. That's the big money. That's the whales, like the true whales, right? Okay guys, that's it. That's all I got. I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Thanks for checking in. And if you found this information helpful, right, hit that comment, hit that like, subscribe, right, do what you got to do. And I'll see y'all later.